Welcome back. All right. So, I haven't done one of these videos in a bit. I don't know that I've done this since we got home. Not one of the what I've been watching videos. And obviously, with the regular season a little over a month away, I got to make sure I finish up the shows that we need to get finished up. And, there are some that I'm just going to have to try to keep up with during the regular season, but it does get very difficult. During the regular season, I'm normally done my review video by about 11 at night. Like, there's times where it's earlier than that, much earlier than that, sure, but usually it's around 11:30. My wife's usually pretty tired at that point. Sometimes she's asleep by the time I'm done, so being able to keep up on everything can be difficult. Anyways, I finally watched the movie Soul. Yeah, it only came out 4 years ago. I watched it the other night with Yvonne. What a psychological that is. And I don't know if it was that I was in a weird mood when I watched it, but man, the Jerrys are kind of creepy looking. Terry might be one of the funniest characters I've ever seen in a movie, and it's just what an interesting, unique movie that is. So if you haven't seen Soul, it is a very unique movie, and the animation in it is absolutely fantastic. The animation is great, and I kind of came out of that thinking, life right from beginning to end, and just going through that, it is kind of, because it gets into this idea of, when you pass away, where do you go? And it's fascinating what it comes up with. And so, yeah, really fun movie, and I was kind of surprised at the ending. I thought it was going to be a darker ending than what I got for it, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'd give that a solid 8.5. Definitely worth watching, and it was one that Yvonne had been bugging me to watch with her for some time. So that I got done. We also watched the movie Totally Killer. Now, since this is a horror movie and it's on Amazon Prime, so if you're looking for it, it's on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if it's a different service in the States than in Canada, but I watched it on Amazon Prime up here. And Totally Killer is it's a time travel horror movie. So it's a time travel horror movie. It's not perfect. It's not a fantastic, Oscar winning movie, but it's pretty funny. It's pretty clever. And the daughter going back in time and having to kind of babysit her parents, because her parents are teenagers at the time and they're just all very hormonal for one another. And just seeing the main character in this position, I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was funny, and it was clever. It was clever. It had its moments. It was clever. Sometimes with the time travel thing, you get certain beats in the movie. You're like, yeah, I know what's coming next. I know what's coming next. It actually kind of surprised me with how it does it. You know how when you're in the past and you change something, well, what does it do to the present? They show that kind of in real time. And the way that they do it's a little different than other movies. I thought it was clever. So I would highly recommend Totally Killer. It was also shot in Vancouver, so that's kind of awesome. It did look familiar to me in places. I'm wondering though, with the fair part, the part they did with the fair, did they mess around with the P&E and try to make it look decrepit and run down, and they just got one corner of the fair? But either way, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend that one. We've been watching Love is Blind UK. We're about halfway through the season. I know that the season's been posted for a little bit here and they're doing the reunion, but we're trying to get everything all caught up. We did almost finish Love is Blind Sweden. We didn't, I don't think we actually finished the Love is Blind Sweden reunion. The reunions get really difficult with these shows, to be honest, because it does feel like you're taking these people who start a relationship from behind a wall, and then, oh look, in reality it's much more difficult than that, and now we're going to bring you back to talk about everything that went wrong so we can get you guys fighting for ratings. And I don't like that. The reunions don't do anything for me. So I finish the season, see how it ends, who gets married, who doesn't, and go from there. But the Love is Blind, the idea of it sounds great. And what's always interesting to me is that they'll come out of the pods and one person proposes to the other and it's yes, and they can't wait to be together. And then most of the time it doesn't work. Because of course not. This is where, to me, Love is Blind is a silly notion, because most of these couples, when they see each other in person, there's that adjustment process, because love is not totally blind. You can fall in love with somebody's personality, but you don't know all their little habits. You don't know the little the little idiosyncrasies in their personality, little things that might drive you crazy, you just don't see that talking through a wall. So it's more than just blind. Like if you're just talking, it's just sound. So you're just falling in love with the voice. You're not falling in love with the person as much as the voice. Sure, it can work out, but take it from somebody who talked on the phone plenty in the 80s and 90s. It's nah, nah. Master Chef Generations, we've been watching this. I don't like the double episodes. I'm going to be honest. I don't. I don't have the patience for the double episodes. So when they do a double episode, which they did this week and last week, when they do that, I only watch the first half one night and the second half the other because essentially it's just two episodes squeezed together. And they post it at least on our on demand as one episode, which is silly. The other thing that drives me nuts with the Master Chef and really with Chef Ramsay shows is when they have, and now previewing what's coming up, they'll show you the whole damn thing. It's like, I don't want to see that much. And Love is Blind does this too. At the start of the season, they show you all this drama that's going to happen. And so if you're eagle-eyed and if you have a good memory, you'd be like, well, those two end up together and those two end up in a big fight when they end up together. It's just silly to me. I'm not sure who that's for because you're already watching the show. The only thing that drives me more crazy is when it's on demand and I'm watching Master Chef, it goes to commercial and it's a Master Chef commercial. And I don't understand who's in charge of that, but they didn't do it right. So there's that. I am watching the challenge season 40. Yvonne tapped out about 3/4 of the way through the first episode. She doesn't like it. She's not a fan of the show. I like it. I think this season's kind of bloated. Like I understand they had 8 people eliminated, so they got down to 32 pretty quickly. But still, you can tell that for season 40 they want to overstuff it and have so many people in it. But I mean, for me, I'm already to the point where I'm like, I don't know how much this season's going to tell us who's the best when you have that many eliminations right away. And eliminations, it can be really up in the air about who's going to go home. If it's a physical challenge or a mental challenge, you could have a completely different setup. So, yeah, the challenge, I get a kick out of it. My wife, not a fan. She doesn't like it. And they did have one episode there that just basically nothing happened in it. And if I had read the synopsis of that episode before I started it, I probably wouldn't have watched it, which was just them all talking and partying and just all the social aspects of it. And I was like, when is somebody going to get eliminated? Oh, I clicked on the wrong episode. Anyways, so yeah, challenge season 40. Amazing Race Canada, we're keeping up on that. And at this point, we're like, as long as it's not Kevin or Gurleen, as long as it's not them that win, I'm gonna be happy. I'd rather the twins, the girls win, because the sisters have played a very fair game. In fact, they all have, except Kevin and Gurleen. And it's like they're playing a completely different game than everybody else. We're like, oh, we're super competitors. No, it's a race. And sure, there's some amount of strategy with the race, but everybody runs a pretty decent, honest race on there, and they're playing traders on there. They're doing it like traders. It's like why are you playing so hard? What are you? Because what you do is you alienate every other team, so now you're racing against everyone else. Whereas some of these teams will be like, hey, we should team up on this leg. We're a little bit behind right now. Let's team up and catch those other guys, and then we'll see who wins. And yeah, Kevin and Gurleen do not play that part of the game. They just play like, we're against everyone. All right, good luck. I'm going to go nuts if they win. We've started watching, we being my wife and I, the Blue Ribbon Baking Championship. This is on Netflix. Yeah, we watched the 3rd episode last night. It is very interesting to watch these bakers when they're like, I'm going to try this. And my wife and I both go, no, that's not going to work. One guy, he's trying to make a roll, just a Swiss roll. And as soon as he starts to roll it, both Yvonne and I are like, what are you doing? And we're like yelling at the TV. That's not going to work. What are you? Oh, no. And so the whole thing crumbles. And the whole time we're like, we knew it. So that's what we're like. We watch the baking shows. But this one's kind of funny because I'm not a baker, but even I'm looking at some of this and going, I don't think that's going to work. Oh, look, it didn't work. Wow. In fact, last night's episode, there were a couple of those cakes that looked like they belonged to Nailed It. So Now the taste was there, and that's important. But when the cake's basically a complete and total mess, you're not surprised when that person goes home. I did get a kick out of the fact that he made a complete mess out of the cake, and then I said to him, I said, "This is gonna get covered in fondant." Sure enough, it gets coated. I think it was icing he used to coat it though, and then a bunch of sprinkles. Like, yeah, sprinkles fixes we'll just put a bunch of sprinkles on that. It just I get a kick out of a baking show where it's like what they're making I can understand. It's not so overly complicated. Some of these baking shows are ridiculous. The stuff they make is just absolutely crazy. Like, how did they do that? And so it's nice to watch a show where I'm kind of like, yeah, that could work. Or for Yvonne, she's already got a couple of ideas watching this where she's like, I could do that. So yeah, kind of fun. And I will say that I think it's Jason Biggs is the host. I think it's Jason Biggs, right? No, doesn't belong. I don't think he makes a great host. He's one of those hosts that tries to say something funny and it's not. And he probably should. He's not. He seems like a really nice guy. Like Jason Biggs has always seemed like a really nice guy, but no. Just as host, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And of course, the American Pie jokes are there because, of course, there it's a baking show. They're gonna make pies. He was on American Pie. It's funny, but still, it will be fascinating to see who ends up winning on this one because I have no idea. From one elimination to the next, it seems like a different person is doing really really well and a different one's doing really really badly. Traders New Zealand. I finished it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I did talk about Traders New Zealand not long back, and I had somebody comment that they gave up on the New Zealand one in the first season. Yeah, the first season of the Traders New Zealand is not good. I'm not going to pretend that it is. It's not a good season. I'm kind of surprised they got a season two after that, but season two was fantastic. One of the best series I've ever watched of the show. And at the end, an absolute shocker. I was absolutely shocked by who won. And I was pleasantly surprised by who won. It was somebody I was rooting for anyways. And then just for that to happen, it was just great. So when you see good people win on the traders, that's always fun. It is a messy game. It is always a messy game. It has to be really hard when you're a trader and you're around people that you're close to as the game winds down, understanding that you stand in the way of them winning any money at all. That if you're with them near the end or at the end, you guarantee they won't win any money if you're standing with them. And it's just messy. Bit of a Love Island update. I'm not going to talk much about the show. I do videos, of course, on Love Island, which don't perform very well, but that's fine. It's fine. I just like to have this stuff out there and talk about it. The couple that I thought was going to make it, well, Kendall and Nicole didn't, and it really comes down to Kendall didn't tell her the truth. So there was a video out there, and it was a kind of a salacious video that I guess he told her was from years ago, and it was recorded just before he went on the show this summer. So that is kind of a major thing. I think she was having some reservations anyway about some of the stuff that happened in the villa and Casa Amor as well. So most of the couples are done. Aaron and Kaylor are done. She's mad and rightfully so. I feel bad for her. But yeah, Aaron really messed that up badly. So look for Aaron on like an All Stars at some point because that drama, it's something. And it's funny because Aaron and Kaylor look like they're probably gonna make it, and then nope. So just a quick update there. And kudos to Serena and Cordell apparently getting married. So there you go. Also, to close this out, I wanted to mention I finally watched Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Now, when I saw the trailer for this and I saw previews for it, I was so scared. Because Unicron is tough. And Transformers is difficult. Transformers was never a deep show. The original Transformers movie, I loved it. It also has the depth of a very small puddle. It is not a deep movie. The series was never deep either. It was about cool robots who had unique personalities and they'd fight with each other. That was basically it. And what the movies were becoming was human drama that just happened to have some robots in the background that all blow each other up, and I have no idea who's who. And it got really frustrating with the Transformers movies. I tapped out after the third one. In fact, I got like, I don't think I've ever watched the third one from start to finish. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Refused to go see it in the theater when it came out, and I have skipped a lot of Transformers material since then. I did watch Bumblebee, loved that movie. Bumblebee was great. And I'm going to say it right now, Transformers Rise of the Beast, very well done. I had some concern that Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal were both going to be in the movie because they're essentially the exact same character. Optimus Primal in Beast Wars is just Optimus Prime. It is there's no difference in personality, there's no difference in how they run things, and I'm pretty sure it was the same voice actor for both. And so yeah, when I saw they were both in this movie, I thought I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know that it does necessarily, but it works well enough. And the human drama is there, but there's no like weird romance. There's no will they, won't they. Like there's no overarching storyline. There's no goofy little parts with family members or anything. It tries to treat the material seriously while still having, I mean, it's lighthearted. I thought Mirage was well done. I thought they made the right decision too to keep Bumblebee out of most of the movie. Because obviously that's going to be the one to be like, it's just going to be Bumblebee and whoever else. But keeping him out, making Mirage more of a character, I was more entertained by Mirage in this than I was by him in the original series. Mirage in the original series, I never thought was that clever an idea. I was always like, just shoot the one in the middle. The one in the middle is always him, so just shoot the one in the middle. Because he can just create Mirages. That's the name. And so he can create like 5 or 6 of himself. But it's always the one in the middle, so just shoot the one in the middle. But I did get a kick out of Rise of the Beasts. Unicron is not a fully fleshed out character because he can't be. Even in the original, Orson Welles did the voice for him, and Orson Welles phones it in. You go back and watch that, you can see Orson Welles is not into that. Orson Welles was probably reading it going, what is this stupid crap? He probably mumbling to himself, Alec Guinness warned me this is what happens with science fiction, but I didn't listen to him. But at any rate, Rise of the Beasts, I thought was well done. I understand it lost money. I did look it up because I was like, okay, so they shoehorn in like a G.I. Joe tie-in at the end, which I'm okay with because I think you could do a decent Transformers G.I. Joe movie, which is where they eventually plan to go with it. But since this movie underperformed, and from what I've seen, there's no updates regarding a second movie in the Rise of the Beasts, they were going to do a trilogy of them. That's too bad. It is. It's too bad because it feels like they got it right with this one. It had the right feel. It had the right balance of humanity and robot. And all the robots, I could tell who was who when they were fighting. And each robot kind of had a different personality. Air Razor didn't get fleshed out as much as I thought she could have. There were a couple of them I was sad wasn't in it either. But yeah, that's the way it works. Scorponok's the one I was thinking of. There are a few though from the Beast Wars, but you could bring extras in. I thought it was interesting they counted RC, but Hot Rod wasn't there. I thought you could have had Hot Rod in there since they put RC in it. But this is the thing, right? It works towards the nerds. You've got these characters in there. We recognize them. We recognize the robots, and I thought it was well done. There were a couple of moments in the movie where I was thinking, they could end this now if, but that's probably just the Ryan George voice in the back of my head there with, well, we could end the movie here, but the movie's got to happen. Just some very simple ways they could have been like, yeah, so we can just go ahead and stop the whole thing if, but they don't. And so, yeah, that's the way that works. There's almost, it almost feels like that Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark thing too, where at points the humans are there, but it doesn't feel like they're actually having an impact on anything. They're just watching everything happen. But at the end, they do have some impact on what's going on. So, entertaining movie if you've been avoiding it because you don't like the Transformers movies. If you like the original cartoons, I think you'll enjoy the movie. I thought it was well done as a movie about giant fighting robots can get. Like seriously, they're robots that turn into cars, and so yeah. I do get a kick out of too this idea of the sky opening up. There's this huge, almost planet-sized Unicron, and at no point does the military show up. At no point does anybody. So in the Michael Bay movies, there's way too much conventional warfare involving human soldiers. But in this movie here, I was like, I think there'd be an F-16 at least up there. Something's going to be in the air going, what's going on over here? Nothing. Nothing. I understand it was over Peru for large parts of that too, but still, the whole sky is this giant robot thing. I think somebody would have sent up a plane to see what's going on. Something. But anyways, that's as close as I get to any kind of criticism of the movie. I thought it was really well done. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.